In this tutorial, we're going to look at Artisteer. Artisteer is template design software that allows you to quickly build templates for a lot of the popular CMSs out there today: Joomla, Blogger, WordPress, Drupal, to name a few. This is their website, and as you can see, you can download a free trial of the software. You can use it as long as you want. You can develop as many templates as you want. The only restriction is that when you export a template, there'll be a watermark over most of the images. And so it's really not useful for real web design, but it's a fun thing to try. Give you an idea of the product before you spend $129 to buy it. Artisteer.com gets you all of the details. The current purchase price is $129. The home version doesn't do Joomla, so you're looking at spending the entire amount. Alright, let's take a look at the actual program itself. When you start Artisteer, you're presented with this screen, and to start a Joomla template, just click on Joomla. And the program will load what they call a suggested design. The really great thing about Artisteer is it's a lot of fun to play with. Just click Suggest Design a few times, and you'll start to see the absolute amazing variety of templates that you could put together with Artisteer. With Artisteer, you are allowed to use all of the photography, all of the backgrounds, and all of the images that you'll find in the software, with one exception. If you plan on selling your Artisteer generated templates, which you're allowed to do, you are not allowed to use any of this header clip art that's included in the package. If you're just using it for your own site, you're more than welcome to do so, and there's no restriction on that. It's a pretty good deal for $129. Let's click Suggest Design a couple more times just to see what's available. Here again, a completely different look. Every part of this is customizable. Alright, here's the one we're going to start with today. It's a fairly attractive template. The text is a little small, so we're going to play with this until we get it to the way we like it. And basically what we're going to do is just go from left to right on the menus so we can see how Artisteer can set up every aspect of your template. Now once I click Suggest Design, it gives me a brand new design with every parameter. But let's just say I really like the main part of this template, but I don't really like the background. I can now just click Suggest Background, and it'll take the template that I've chosen and suggest another background based on what I want. There's one. There's another. So you get an idea. Let's say I don't like the header. I can just click Suggest Header, and it'll suggest a different header for me as well. You'll see that that's available for virtually every element of the site. I don't like the fonts. They're too small, so I'm going to say Suggest Fonts. That's a little bit better. Let me try again. No, I like the other one better. Just pressing on the Mac Command-Z or on the PC Control-Z undoes your last change. Alright, so let's start. Under Colors and Fonts now, I have, again, Suggest Colors. All of the color themes that are available and built in to Artisteer. If I want to change this to that kind of a color, all I have to do is hover over the color scheme, and it gives me a preview of what the site will look like. I haven't changed anything yet. I'm just looking to take a peek. I kind of like soft blue. Let's keep it at soft blue. From here I can adjust whether it's light, dark, gray, light, medium, pastel. You get the idea. Now I can click Suggest Fonts, or I can choose my font sets based on normal web-safe fonts. So again, I just have to hover over it, and it shows me what the potential is going to be. When I click on Typography, again, simple versus classic versus large, centralized. You get the idea. I'm going to choose simple, and font scale, I'm going to choose 110%. That looks to be about 12 point. Something we'll notice later on is that these are ridiculously large in a real website, and we'll take care of that as we go. As we scroll down, you see all of the major components of a Joomla template: the heading styles, superscript, subscript, links, list items, block quote, tables, and of course buttons. So we've got our fonts laid out. Now let's take a look at the layout. I can suggest layout, which now starts to change how the basic inside of the page will look. And I kind of like that. Let's leave it that way. And I do want to have the menu below my main header. And 3-column layout with fairly wide columns is pretty good. I can click here and say how wide I want column 1 and how wide I want column 3. That's a little ridiculous, so we can just click cancel and it'll go back to the way it was. I'm not really happy with how wide this is, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Next, clicking on background, it gives us another bunch of options for the background. I can have a grassy background, vertical stripe background, all kinds of different styles here. Let's stick with the palm trees. That's kind of strange, but we like it. I can turn glare on and off, have image or texture at the top, so let's go with the clouds. Notice that gets rid of the bottom. And let's have a dark to light gradient. And I kind of like that glare at the top, actually. I can change the fill color. And when I click on options, texture repeated is horizontal, position is top left, fixed, scrolling. If I don't like any of the textures and background here that's built in, of course, I can have my own. It gives me certain options, top left, soft light, overlay. So it gives you great flexibility right from start, and you don't have to do a lot to get a good looking background. When I click on sheet, I can again have Artisteer suggest a sheet. I can then come in and do it the way I want, or change the sheet layout to something that is better. I can tell it how wide I want it to be. And I can tell it what kind of offset I want at the very top. So again, virtually every part of your Joomla template is customizable. I can change the transparency, which again in this case would be kind of strange, but all of that is optional. I don't really like the fill color, so I'm going to click on more colors, and I'm just going to set it to white. And now we have a more standard approach to the template. This we can change in just a moment. When we click on header, we have the option to have all kinds of different backgrounds. Again, you can load your own. I can change the height, and it'll automatically crop the image for me. Or I can choose a totally different background. I can even add a person in the foreground. These are the images that you're not allowed to use if you plan on selling your template to somebody else. But if it's for your site or personal use, that's not a problem. Let's go with the Happy Holiday picture, although it really doesn't make any sense, but just for fun. I can add my own picture here as well, and I have some limited effects that I can put on these images. Gives me a nice soft glow around there. This is where I can change my headline text, and that gets hard-coded into your design. If I don't want any slogan text, I can just eliminate it completely. I can also reposition this. Click, drag, drop. It's automatically linked to the home page of the site. So that's the header. When we click on menu, we have the options to change virtually everything about these menus as well. So let's start with suggest a menu. It's going to look at all of the options and start to choose one for you. You can click until you get one you like. Here you can select the style of the menu. From here I can change the shape, the margin, the alignment, and the distance between. So that's 8 pixels apart. The shape, let's go with a slightly different shape. The coloring, I can change the texture and the gradient of the menu bar itself, the fill color, passive, active, and hovered style for each of the links, what font family, the size, and then of course the style. And if I click on font options, this is pretty familiar. On the sub-items, it's the same way. I can have multi-level. I can increase the size and put a gradient to it. So now my submenus look like this. One of the great things about Artisteer is every time you make a change, of course, it's instantaneously viewable for you. And when you upload this to your site and make it the default template, assuming you've got the sample data in your installation, this is pretty much what you're going to see. Alright, we click on Articles. Again, this is just a preview image, really not a big deal. It's not going to be included in your template, but you can put it there to kind of see how things are going to go. The shape of the content, I can add an outline to it. Text padding, margins, fill, border, radius, and shadow effects. I can add a shadow to that main area. Change the main font, color, family, size, and style. Left justified, center, right, fully justified. Here's where I can change all of my H tags. And again, these H tags are right here. They're pretty large. I usually bump them down a bit, only because a 32-point H1 tag is really big. I usually start at 18. And although it's going to look small here, once you put this on your site, 18-point font is pretty big. So again, just go through and change the size real quickly. And every aspect of these H tags is available for change. What your links look like, color, font family, style, size, underlining. What block quote looks like, and again the block quote is here. Whether it's filled, has a border, what kind of icon, and again it comes in with a variety of different icons so you can really customize your template the way you want it. Do you want to have a border on your pictures? What kind of bullets do you want? I can change the style of the bullet points. In my header area, what do I want that to look like? Do I want to have no block? In other words, no shadow around it? Do I want to have a border? If I want a border, of course, I have to have a headline block. What do I want for icons and other information? If I want to have an icon with my title, I can add an icon there. We don't usually see that very often, but you can have it if you want it. What do I want the date to look like? Do I want to have an icon? Yeah, I like the icon. Let's make it a little bit bigger, a little different. There we go. No icon for the author. And I want to make a more simple right icon when I'm logged in as the administrator. On the footer, again, completely customizable. I can have it so there's no block for the footer, and it just appears. But if I want to have a metadata block, then everything else is customizable. Alright, the blocks menu is all about the module positions. Again, I can suggest blocks. And from here, I can change each parameter individually. Change the styling, background, header, and content. The font style, the link style, the bullet style, the line height in the blocks, left justified, right justified. You're starting to get the idea, I'm sure. Buttons, I can change the shape of my button to any of these predefined buttons. The border, texture, gradient, color of the border, the shadow, as well as the text for the button. Every aspect is customizable. And then finally, the footer. If I click Suggest Footer, it's going to change using the color scheme and the design that I've already implemented. If I don't want to have an RSS, I can just hide that, change the links, change the text padding, alignment, fill, texture, gradient. And we have a template. A couple of things to note about Artisteer. One, the CSS that Artisteer puts out isn't the easiest to edit, but once you've done it a few times, you'll get the idea. I use Artisteer every once in a while to get me about 60 to 70% of the way to where I want a template to be, usually on sites that don't require a customized template. But it is a great tool to get you along the way. Once you're happy with this, go ahead and click Export Options. And you'll need to do this before you export it, because generally speaking, you want to get rid of the Artisteer generated theme, and you're allowed to do that, by the way. You're allowed to put your own name in there. If you click on footnote, you can exclude the backward links to the CMS and Artisteer, and the backlink to the author. We'll keep that one in. We're not going to have any watermarks, and there are no other properties for Joomla export. So we click OK, and then export the Joomla template. Give it a name. Don't put spaces in names of things that I'm going to upload to my site, and it goes in my Documents folder. Export as a zip so it's easy to upload to your site, and click Export. And I've just created my Joomla template. Let's go take a look at how it looks on a real site. So just like any other site, I'm going to click Extensions, Install, Browse, upload and install. Successful. Go to Template Manager, click on the template. Notice it gives you a nice little preview. It takes care of all of those things for you. Template author, template date, click Default. And now, when I go to my main site, I have my new template with all of the sample data installed, looking just the way it was in Artisteer. A couple of things. There's obviously some work to do on this template. The breadcrumbs are far too big. I don't really like the buttons, but again, easy to fix. One thing again to note, in Artisteer, you cannot, at this point, have different left side module positions and different right side module positions. In the brand new version on Windows, you're able to do this, but on the Mac version, you're still not able to. It's not hard to change if you know a little CSS, and by the time we're done this course, you'll know how to change this. That's Artisteer.